Good evening, everyone. I'm Pamela Johnson, and I want to officially welcome you to our humor and comedy focused Toastmasters interest meeting. I'm thrilled you're here because let's be honest, if you're going to spend your evening anywhere, a room full of people who want to get better at being funny, it's a pretty awesome choice. Thank you for showing up with curiosity, courage, and hopefully a sense of humor. And if you don't have one, not to worry. Apparently, we got plenty of that to go around in this room. Tonight is all about exploring what a humor and comedy focused Toastmasters Club could look like. Humor is one of the most powerful communication tools we have. It breaks tension, it builds connection, and it makes even the driest topics feel a little more human. And no, you don't need to be a stand up comedian. You don't even need to be the funny one in your family. If you can laugh, you can learn. If you can tell a story, you can grow. And if you've ever made someone chuckle, even accidentally, you're already halfway there. You just need a willingness to try, learn, and laugh, especially at yourself. This meeting gives you a chance to see how Toastmasters can help you develop humor in a structured, supportive, and very forgiving environment. Because if you're going to try out a joke, it's better to do it here than at Thanksgiving dinner. You might not be invited back. By the end of our time together, we want you to understand what a humor focused club can offer. Experience how humor fits naturally into the Toastmasters program. See how meeting roles support comedic timing, storytelling, and delivery. Explore what you might want this club to become. And of course, laugh at least once, preferably with us and not at us, but we'll take what we can get. Ultimately, we hope you feel inspired to help shape this club as a founding member. You get to help design the culture, the energy, and of course, the fun. Think of it as building a comedy playground for adults. Here's what we'll cover tonight. We will start with a warm up activity. We will then move into a speech demonstration that is humor focused, followed by an evaluation with a twist. We're going to look at how humor enhances communication and leadership. We'll have a discussion on how a humor club could be structured. And at the end, a Q&A where you have your chance to ask anything from how do I join to if it's okay if my jokes are at dad level. Some of us only know those dad jokes. Now let's get started with a quick warm up. Every exercise requires a warm up, including speaking. To lead this portion, I call to the virtual stage Ted Merteris, if I pronounced that correctly. Ted is a software development manager, a profession that really doesn't scream funny. A big part of his work is translating complexity into clarity. That's definitely not funny. A skill that carries directly into his passion for communication. He also runs a professional development business that focuses on mentoring and public speaking. He is a member of Hunter Den Speak Easy Toastmasters, where he has competed in district level humorous speech contests. He has also served in officer roles, including club president. And outside of work, he enjoys hiking and spending time with his daughters. It's time to warm up and get toasty with Ted. Ted, you're on.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. So I have the task of warming us up and getting greasing our humor skids, so to speak. It's a tall task. I'm not going to be able to do it all by myself. I'm going to need your help. But I will start us off and you will bring us across the finish line. I'm going to start by sharing with you my morning routine. There are three things I do every morning when I come down to the kitchen. I make breakfast, brew a cup of coffee, and text a dad joke to my three daughters. Let me share with you today's joke. Why is it dangerous to do math in the jungle? Anyone? Anyone? Bueller? I'll tell you. Because when you add 4 and 4, you get 8. I can only see Pamela's square and Cadian's square.
Yes, you
I can't
froze.
see anybody else.
You froze for a moment, Teddy.
Oh, I froze for a moment. I thought everyone forgot to laugh. Can everyone still hear me and see me? Or am I
I
frozen?
can. I can both
Okay.
see and hear you, Teddy.
Okay, very good. I'm going to keep going. Now I'm curious, who else has something quick and fun to share? It could be a one-liner, a funny observation, or even your best imitation. Don't overthink it. This is just for fun. Who's willing to jump in and get us started? Just yell out your name since I can't see all the squares. Jim
Jim.
Tassone.
You think healthcare is expensive now? Just wait till it's free.
Thank you, Jim. Anyone else?
Vonnie.
Satyavani?
Yes. Do you all want to go around the world for free? Yes. Then just go around like this.
Very good.
I have one.
Okay,
This
I
is
don't know who
Shelley.
that is, but go ahead.
Knock, knock.
Who's
Who's
there?
there?
Interrupting cow.
Interrupting cow who?
Moo!
Oh, awesome. Do we have anybody else? Come on,
I
these are
have
great.
one.
Roddy
I
has
have
one.
one.
Go ahead.
So the Toastmaster was in Rome, and you know how the gladiators are. He was fighting, has to fight with the lion, and the audience is all watching. And then the Toastmaster whispers something to the lion, and next thing you know, the lion just goes back into his cage, and the Toastmaster wins. Do you know what he whispered to the lion?
Do you want
He
to join the
said,
club?
"No." He said, whoever wins, and if you win and eat me up, then you have to give an after dinner speech.
Oh.
And after dinner. That's cute.
All right, all right. I'm not a joke guy, but I literally was just at a taping where a bunch of kids were telling bad dad jokes. So I'll give you the one that they didn't seem to get or find funny. We'll see if I can do something with it. Here we go. You ready? Seriously, you ready?
We're
I'm
ready.
Okay,
ready.
there we go. Where do sheep go? Where do the sheep go on a cruise?
To
Bahama.
There you go, baby!
I
You're
have
obvious.
kids.
I was gonna say you're obviously not a 5-year-old child though, because they didn't seem to get it. But that went over gangbusters, and I'm glad that you got it. So there you go. That's all I got.
I
These are
have a
great.
real life
Keep
joke.
keep them
Chris has
coming.
his hand up. Chris?
No, I just was applauding.
Okay. I have a real life joke. Well, I don't know if it's a joke, but It's no more about my life and actually thinking, am I going to live to the end of this ride? I'm presently in Guyana, and I took a minibus to get to one point to the other. So then the driver says to me, double up, double up, double up. So I'm thinking, what the heck is double up? Should I make myself a double? Not knowing it's more people he's stuffing in the bus. And I'm thinking, how the hell you could put more people in the bus? They're going to be on my lap, but it seems it's something that they're accustomed to. And then he speeds off. And it's like, I'm looking for something to hold on to in the bus for dear life. It reminded me of when you look at cartoons and you see those little, like little cars and like they're bouncing around and there's so much uh, rock and stuff on the road, and I'm bouncing all over. And I'm praying to dear God that this thing is going to stop. So I'm telling Katie, and she's like, oh, she laughs and she says, oh, it's just like in Jamaica. Well, that was my first experience of being doubled up. Instead of me being doubled, it's people just being added into the vehicle, and you just hold on for dear life. That's my joke.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
In Jamaica, we said, make yourself small.
You know what they say in India? They say, please adjust. Everyone has to adjust.
I have one.
Yeah,
This is Paul Rafage. May I go ahead, Teddy?
You may.
Okay, have you heard about the movie called Constipation?
Oh, I don't want to.
Me neither, because it hasn't come out yet.
Somebody had to go in the gutter.
Oh, I just got that. I'm slow. Okay. Oh gosh, Paul.
Well, Paul, I'll see you and raise you. How fast is milk? Anyone? How fast is milk? It's past your eyes before you know it. Thank you very much.
I think
So what do you
Rima had
think?
Rima had her hand up at one time. No, you good? Okay.
Okay, one more.
I'm good, thank you.
Okay.
All right. Do we feel warmed up enough? Shall we leave it there?
Yes.
All right. I'll pass the baton back to Madam Toastmaster. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that. And thank you, everyone, for participating. And you thought a Toastmasters meeting had to be dull. Apparently, it doesn't have to be. But keep in mind, a humor-focused Toastmaster Club still uses the same meeting roles we all know, but each role becomes a built-in comedy workshop. Humor doesn't replace the structure, it enhances it. The roles give members a safe, supportive space to experiment with timing, delivery, and creativity while still following the Toastmasters framework. Here's how each meeting role naturally supports humor development. Let's take the Toastmaster of the day. That's the comedy host where you develop those MC skills. In a humor club, a Toastmasters becomes the show host. They practice setting up a playful, upbeat tone, use light humor to transition between segments. They keep the energy high, and they guide the audience through fun and a well-paced meeting. This role builds confidence in hosting, which is essential to humorous speeches, storytelling, and stand-up style delivery if you're into telling jokes. The speaker, that's where humor crafting and storytelling comes into play. Speakers get to experiment with humorous speeches, storytelling with comedic elements, timing, pauses, punchlines, personal anecdotes that land with impact. A humor club gives speakers permission to play, try new things, and refine their comedic voice. The evaluator we could look at as a comedy coach. They help speakers sharpen their humor by identifying what made the audience laugh, noting where timing can be improved, suggesting stronger setups or clearer punchlines. It encourages boldness while keeping humor appropriate and inclusive. Evaluators become the supportive comedy coaches, not the critics. The timing, we all know, humor, comedy, timing is important. It's everything. The timer helps you learn when to pause, when to punch, how to avoid dragging out a joke. I'm sure we all had that Uncle John who it took him 5 years, it felt like, to get a joke out. And by the time he was done, you didn't know what he was talking about. The timer also helps keep a humorous speech tight and engaging. And that role reinforces the rhythm of comedy because comedy does have rhythm. Of course, we have the odd count and grammarian, and they actually help with a cleaner, sharper delivery. Humor lands best when a delivery is clean. These roles help reduce those filler words that weaken the punchlines, improve word choice, strengthen clarity and articulation, discover fun word of the day choices that spark creativity. A well delivered joke is often a well edited joke. Table topics, improv. We all know about that. It's spontaneous. This role becomes a playground for improvisation. The table topics master can create humorous prompts, encourage playful thinking, build members' confidence in spontaneous humor. It helps members practice quick wit and creativity. That's perfect training for anyone who wants to be funnier in conversations, presentations, or storytelling. The table topic speaker, this is where you develop those quick thinking and that natural humor. You get to practice thinking on your feet, finding humor in every situation, responding authentically and playfully, building confidence in unscripted speaking. This is where many members discover their natural comedic style. We can't forget the general evaluator. I look at that person as the comedy show producer. They ask, did the humor feel natural and inclusive? Was the pacing strong? Did the meeting flow like a well run show? Where can the club elevate the fun even more? They shape the club's comedic identity. The big picture, a humor focused Toastmaster Club uses the same meeting roles, but each role becomes a tool for developing comedic timing, storytelling, improvisation, audience engagement, confidence, and creative expression. The structure stays the same, the energy becomes playful, supportive, and laughter filled. If you are a Toastmaster, you know that in a Toastmasters meeting, the prepared speaker is important because they provide the core learning and inspiration experience for members. And we have that for you this evening. Our next speaker is a software engineer with over 10 years of experience building sophisticated web applications. Here we go again. Another profession that does not equate to funny in any way. He operates his own professional consulting and AI education business, Should Call Paul. Beyond his professional work, he's a dedicated member of the Matawan Aberdeen Chamber of Commerce and an active participant in the District 83 Toastmasters group, where he has competed in numerous speech contests at the district level. He's also a marathon runner and a father of two. Today, he is completing a level 1 project, writing a speech with purpose. The speech title, which already has me laughing, aging with interest. Please join me in welcoming Paul Irafage.
Happy birthday to me. That was my big secret. Today is my actual birthday. Unmute, everybody, and guess how old I am.
10.
100.
Wow. So
It
somebody
was a
just
joke.
lost a friend. I'll give
Very
you a hint.
wrong.
I'll
You
give
can
you a
drink
hint.
legally.
Oh.
That's why I brought a prop. That's right. If you said I was 20, first of all, you are my new best friend. Thank you. But that's not true. I am 41 years old. 41, it's a good age, but it's an awkward age. And it's one where you're aging with interest. You can move and your body can still function, but I can tell every time I try to do it, it is charging me with interest. 41 is an awkward age. You're too old for the bartender to check your ID, but you're still too young for that discount at IHOP. But don't worry, I can feel the midlife crisis coming. I've been eyeing a Porsche. A Porsche is a perfect blend of I've made it and I can still drive fast. I know I'm very handsome, but when I was younger, I used to look at those cute girls and know that I can't have them. But now that I'm 41, I look at a box of donuts and I know that I can't have them. Just looking at a box of donuts increases my blood pressure. That's right, fellow Toastmasters, at 41, I have high blood pressure. You know life is not going your way when your own blood is going up against you. I've experienced a lot of things that are indicating to me that I am aging with interest. I've made this really drastic routine where this really drastic transition to a nighttime routine where I don't just go to bed anymore. I need at least half an hour or 45 minutes to warm up before I go to bed. I've been doing yoga. Now, some people do yoga for enlightenment, but for me, it's really a matter of survival. I do it just so I can physically get out of bed in the morning. I'm doing yoga basically because my back hurts. My lower back hurts all the time. As a matter of fact, my back hurts so much that when I drop something on the floor, now it's become a cost benefit analysis. Yes, I can go down just fine, but getting back up, I know that's never gonna happen. I've gotten into the habit of dropping maybe 10 different items on the floor before I'm willing to go down. And when I do it, I'm crawling on the floor, collecting every item in one go, because getting back up takes me at least 20 minutes. And that's how I conserve energy, fellow Toastmasters. Huh. Why am I here again? Oh, I forgot to mention, my memory is really bad now, too. I don't quite know where I am, but I do know that I won't be able to find my car when I go back to that parking lot. This is just another example of my body charging me with interest. But speaking of nighttime routines, naps are now the best thing ever. As a matter of fact, I am fully capable of taking a nap at any time during the day. You know how during those speech contests they have 1 minute to give the judges time to judge? That's my nap time. And when a contest ends and they give 2 minutes, that's an extended nap. It's beautiful. I don't know if anyone has ever seen me answer questions during an interview at the end of a Toastmaster speech contest, but I'm sleeping during the entire thing. That's actually why I go to speech contests in the first place. It's an opportunity to nap away from my noisy children. As a matter of fact, Just to give this speech, I had to make myself a cup of coffee. I realized that I have high blood pressure for a couple of reasons. First of all, you may notice I'm never getting too close to the camera, and that's because I have nose hairs now. It's nothing to be proud of. It's so bad that I have a specialized electronic device just to trim my own nose hairs. Have you ever done something called flushing your nose? It is one of the worst experiences ever, but I have to do it at least every other night. Otherwise, I just can't breathe. It's just another artifact of aging with interest. Fellow Toastmasters, I know I'm getting older. I know that today is my birthday, and it is certainly a reason to celebrate, but I just can't help it but let all of you know, maybe warn some of you who are approaching that age that eventually you too will be aging with interest. But you know what? I still think it's a really good alternative to the opposite, which is dying. But let's never take life for granted, fellow Toastmasters. Whether you're aging normally or aging with interest, whether you're 41 years old, just try to enjoy life to the fullest. I'm not getting that. Back to you, contest chair. Toastmaster, not contest chair. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Paul. That was quite funny, but not so funny considering I'm quite, let's just say, I'm a little bit older than you, like all the way over there. I know that everyone in this room enjoyed that. I saw lots of laughing and lots of smiles. Of course, Paul's speech needs some feedback. We have Paul's evaluator tonight, Jasper Limburg. And Jasper is a data scientist and cybersecurity professional with experience and working in multiple industries. He's also a member of AT&T Middletown Toastmasters Club. Outside of work, he's a percussionist, again, not funny, that has been involved in various musical ensembles for 15 years. Let's see if Jasper's evaluation offers some additional laughs for us to walk away with. Jasper.
Right. Thank you, Toastmaster, for the introduction. And what I'd like to say in response to the percussionist bit, at least I know how to do a badumts. So I'd like to think it's at least okay. Overall, Paul, you did really an amazing speech. I thought there was plenty of funny moments there, and there was a lot of humor overall. Right off the bat, you were engaging the audience and asking questions, really bringing people in introducing a lot of interest into your speech. And I thought a big benefit of that too, being in a more virtual setting, is that you got people off mute. I feel like oftentimes when you are trying to get a laugh out of someone on Zoom or a virtual medium, it's tough to really gauge the audience because you're focused on yourself and you don't have a laugh track in the background. So you think you're bombing 100% of the time when in reality, people are probably laughing. They're just on off camera and off mute. So getting people to interact in that way was a very excuse me, great way to start off the speech. Also, your vocal variety throughout that speech was really good. Did a great job at emphasizing a lot of your points, getting some really interesting laughs in terms of your tone. I thought it was a very tongue-in-cheek way to approach it. What I would have done was just complain constantly. And at a certain point, that gets boring, to be honest, because people like misery loves company, but at a certain point, it's just complaining to complain. So having that sort of tongue-in-cheek Oh my God, aging with interest. It's so cool. I can't even get up half the time. It added a nice note, and I thought that was really good. And the way you had tone for that was really good overall. It really played into the irony of it. Also, your wordplay, I thought there was a few fun little notes that you did to really emphasize a lot of your points. Again, constantly saying aging with interest, really bringing more from just a general speech writing perspective, going around a consistent theme. I thought that was very good. Now, of course, nobody's perfect. As much as I love to hear you talk, Paul, there were some parts that I was like, okay, come on, let's rein it in here. I would say right off the bat, pacing is always tougher in one, a virtual setting, two, a humorous setting. Having that pause for laughter is something that could help out a little bit. Sometimes the jokes are flying a mile a minute. I can't even remember what to laugh at, and then the next thing's coming immediately after. So having a little bit of build up before the next joke, have a little bit of late of groundwork, start to build up, and then the punchline. That could really add to the overall effect of each joke. So maybe spreading things out a little bit can actually make the speech funnier overall. There were also some slight wording issues, you tripping over yourself a little bit, like I do consistently and constantly. So way for me to say it. I caught one time talked about your drastic routine, drastic nighttime routine, for example. So that's really just a small issue. I'm really nitpicking here. And one more thing I would say is just again being conscious of being virtual. One, eye contact will always be an issue. Two, I think your style of humor, having seen you in person, it often involves like getting up close and personal with some people, which you can only do so well when you're on a screen. So I could be like this, but it doesn't really have the same effect as being right up next to you or interacting with a specific person. So that's something you'll need to keep in mind. And also backing up a bit, although the mic is probably not as great, gives you room for hand gestures. But overall, I thought that was really good, very funny. There were so many other parts. You had props, which was really great, and a generally optimistic, upbeat ending, which I thought was very funny and brought in a nice sense of comfort, even though aging is scary. I'll look forward to being that age at some point in the future as well. I'm not giving any hints on my age. Don't bother guessing. But overall, that was very funny, and I'm excited to hear more speeches from you, Paul. So thank you.
Thank you, Jasper. That was quite thorough. As someone who is looking to increase the funny in their speech, that's the type of feedback that is extremely helpful. And I've been aging with interest, not enough interest to retire, but darn near close to it. So, guys, tell me, have you ever noticed that the speeches you remember most are the ones that made you laugh? That's not by accident. In Toastmasters, humor and comedy are powerful communication tools, not just entertainment, but for connection, clarity, and confidence. Let's start by making a very simple distinction: humor versus comedy. Humor is the result. It's that smile, that chuckle, and that ha 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 laugh. Comedy is the method, the technique that creates that humor. Think of it this way: humor is what the audience feels, comedy is what the speaker does. Toastmasters isn't about becoming stand up comedians, but it's about learning to use those comedic techniques to make our messages stronger and more engaging. Humor plays several important roles in a meeting. It builds that connection. When the audience laugh, they relax. The laughter says, I get you, just like I got aging with interest. That emotional connection makes listeners more receptive to your message. It also improves retention. People may forget facts, but they remember how they feel. It's that humor in your message that sticks. And thirdly, it builds speaker confidence. When you hear laughter, you get that immediate feedback. It tells you that you're connecting, and that just boosts your confidence. Now, let's look at how comedy actually works in speeches. Here are a few techniques Toastmaster speakers often use. Some of them don't even realize it. Exaggeration. Comedy often takes something true and stretches it just a little bit. We see this in our tall tales contest, but we also see it in the humorous contests. Comedy happens when expectations are flipped. You set the audience up one way and then you turn. That unexpected turn creates a laugh. Self deprecation. In Toastmasters, this is one of the safest forms of humor when it's done gently. Laughing at yourself makes you relatable without putting others down. There's observational humor. This is the humor that's drawn from shared experiences, something that most of us recognize, like Zoom meetings, forgetfulness. That's when the audience says, wow, that's true. The laughter follows. Here's an important Toastmasters principle. Humor should support your message, not detract from it. A humorous moment should reinforce your point, should feel natural to your personality, and should never embarrass or exclude others. You don't need a joke every 30 seconds. One well placed smile or laugh can be more powerful than constant punchlines. And if you're thinking, I'm not funny, here's the good news. You don't have to be funny. You need to be authentic, observant, and willing to share. Toastmasters gives us that safe place to experiment, to try the humor, see what works, and grow from that feedback. When humor and comedy work together, they turn speeches into experiences. They help us connect, relax, and remember why we showed up, to communicate better, lead better, and enjoy the journey. So the next time you prepare a speech, ask yourself, where can I invite the audience to smile with me? Because sometimes the quickest path to learning is through laughter. I think I've talked enough this evening, and now it's your turn to ask questions. I would also like to hear if this is the type of club that may interest you, and are you willing to take that next step forward to being a founding member? So to try to keep this organized, please use your virtual hand if possible. Those of us driving the car, don't try that, just raise your hand. And I will call on you to hear whatever questions you may have. And we'll start off with Shelley.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm walking my dog while listening in. My question is, what does it mean to be a founding member? What does it all entail? Because I've never been part of such an experience.
Mhm. Absolutely. When a Toastmaster club first starts, it's called chartering a club. And you must charter with a minimum of 20 members. And those members, the ones who start the club, you set the tone of the club. You decide how that club is going to operate. You get to choose the name of the club. You get to choose the days you want to meet, how you want your meeting structure set up, because you're forming your club. We, as a district, just help guide you through that process. So, a founding member or a charter member, as some people know it as, are the, what do you call it when someone, see, it's that aging thing. I age with that interest and whatever, but that is where you start everything out, if that makes sense to you.
Yep, got it. Thank
Okay.
you.
Amir.
Yeah, hi everyone. Maybe I missed it. Humor is like a lot of time, you need a personal interaction to do that. So the club we are planning to form, is it like a virtual club or is it a hybrid club or is it an in-person club? Because the location wise, then you can decide. But definitely, I would like to be a founding member, whatever the format it is. It is something I want to improve on, but I want the clarity, like what is the format we are looking at, and if we have a physical location in mind, that also will be helpful to know, like how far it's from us.
Excellent question. And it ties into Shelley's question earlier. The people who start the club make that decision. You may want to start off virtually until you find a location unless you get lucky and you have a location where everyone can meet. But that would be the decision of the club members who started off. So again, as the district, we're not making those decisions for you. This is your club for you, and you make all those decisions and you drive the direction it's going to go. Does that answer your question, Amir? Okay, Roddy.
Hi,
Around you.
Pamela.
So I hope people are like-minded people can meet.
Okay. You were in and out there, but I think we heard most of it. Roddy.
So I'm curious, is this an advanced club?
Advanced, sometimes that word scares people because they believe they have to be at a certain level. Technically, yes, it would be considered an advanced club because we are inviting current Toastmasters to join this club. But I
So
just
would
don't
that
like to
mean,
use that word, advanced.
yeah, I know it's a technicality. That's the only reason I'm asking. So would that mean that everyone who joins must have been a Toastmaster or completed a level 1 or something like that?
Most everyone who joins the club should be a current Toastmaster. The educational level can be set at a level 1 to make it easier because there are some newer Toastmasters who are interested in this, but also I believe we can put into the the charter that it will also include certain level of experience. So
Mm.
it's not just Toastmasters.
All right, thank you.
Jim.
Pamela, specialty clubs doesn't have to be advanced clubs, right?
Yes and no. Well, I'll talk to you about that offline. I don't want to confuse people. Jim.
Hi, Pamela. Thanks for setting this up and making it happen. What is your current thinking about how this club might specifically relate to the humorously speaking pathways? Is it something that it would be recommended that everybody in the club have that as one of their pathways? Recommended, optional? Just curious about your thoughts or anybody else's thought on that question.
I personally think it's optional. I've done most of the paths and I can fit any type of humor and almost every path there is out there. So I don't think you have to limit yourself in any way. That's my opinion. I don't know if anyone else has a different opinion on that.
The only thing I would think is if you um, haven't done the humor pathway or haven't started it, you might want to consider doing it because the odds
Mhm.
are you're going to be delivering humorous speeches here. So why not, get the credit and start working on an additional pathway if if
Mhm.
if if completing multiple pathways is your goal.
Good point. Good point. I think about things like when I look at the president of my corporation or the CFOs when they speak. You have those speakers, that's a those are serious positions. They're up here, they're running large organizations. Some of them add that little humor in it to make the employees feel like they're part of a family because when you just stand up there and you do that straight, no nonsense kind of delivery, you fall asleep. At least I used to. I don't know about anybody else. However, I look at that the same way with the Toastmasters paths. Just because you're in something that might seem serious, like presentation mastery, you're you're mastering presentations, but you can add humor in that. You can make it light, you can make it easy. So I do see that it can travel through every path that Toastmasters offers. Shelley, you have another question?
Yes, yes. Thank you for entertaining me. I'm assuming this is a first of its kind club for our district. But with that assumption, I guess my question is, do other districts have similar clubs? And if we can take some tips and precedent from that.
I actually have been in contact with two other districts that have humor clubs. I attempted to contact the third one. I'm not sure if they're still in existence. I have a feeling they're not because their information appears to be outdated. But there are at least two. There may be more. I just haven't found them all within Toastmasters. But this would be the first for District 83. Yeah. Brittany.
Good evening. Thank you, everyone, for sharing and for the speech this evening and the evaluation, all very entertaining. My question was about the timing for the beginning of this club. I am
Mhm.
interested in joining it and being a part of the founding. However, I'm not yet a member of my club. I'm still a guest with Toastmasters. I do have a club that I intend to join in the next month or so and plan on starting one of the pathways that's not the humor pathway. So, just with all of that in mind, I'm curious, given requirements, my own plans, what's the timeline from today's meeting to when it would potentially actually get started?
Ideally, we would love to be able to get this off and running in June. Let's just throw out June 1st as a date. Ideally, that's what we would like. Whether that happens or not, it really depends on how many people are truly interested in being part of this type of journey. If you are currently not a Toastmaster, let's say between now and June, you already joined another club, you have some options. You can join this as a second club, which they call a dual member. Or if you want to consider transferring, which I usually don't suggest because I hate taking away members from another club, but you can transfer your membership from one club to the other. Those would be your options. But if it's something you would like to talk about, we'll gladly have a conversation for you to help you make that decision.
Thank you.
Jim,
Since
then
you meant
Teddy.
since you mentioned timing, um, would it make sense for the club to begin July 1st and end on June 30th to coincide with club calendar year? Or is there a reason to have them not be synchronized?
There is a reason, and to be honest, the key reason is for our district to get credit for starting this club for this term, it would have to happen before July 1st. However, if it doesn't take off until July 1st, then that's perfectly fine, but ideally we would like it to take off in June. Teddy?
And my question is, if you don't switch exclusively to the humor specialty club and you stay in this club and your home club, I'll call it,
Mhm.
and you do a speech here in the humor club, does the humor club automatically get credit for this speech, or can you opt to have that credit go back to your home club?
Your credit occurs when you complete a level, and you have the choice of which club you would like to give that credit to.
Okay.
My suggestion is when you're looking at if you're in two or more clubs, see which club needs that level the most because
Mm-hmm.
we want every club within the district to become distinguished. So you
Mm.
might be in a really strong club that really doesn't need that level two,
Mm-hmm.
but you have a club over here that could benefit from it. I would suggest you place it there, but it's up
Mm.
to you as the Toastmaster which club you would like to give the credit to.
Yeah, that's a good answer. Thanks.
Mhm. Roddy?
Yeah, I just wanted to make a comment. First of all, Pamela, I think you did an amazing job. I'm so glad I came. I haven't really heard you speak. I think you did fabulous.
Thank you.
I'm really happy to be here. And just for the information for the rest of the members, I think it would be wonderful if we could start this club before July 1st. Absolutely critical. And we need 20 people to start this club. And there are other humorous clubs, but keep in mind the humorous speech contest ends at the district level because different parts of the world have different humor. So there may be other parts in the world that have humorous clubs, but that may not apply to us. So it's okay. This will be our District 83 Humorous Speech Club. So thank you.
Thank you for that, Roddy. Yeah, that is true. I didn't think about that because our humor may be very different than humor in another country. That's a very good point. All right. Any more comments, questions? Are you ready to
What
be
is the next
funny?
step? What is the next step, Pamela? Do people write to you and say, we want to join?
Pretty much
What?
that's the way it's going to go. I will be sending out an email recapping everything that we went over, along with the applications. And because this meeting was recorded, just like we did with the other interest meeting, we will be posting that on the district YouTube channel. So if you want the opportunity to review it again, or you might have people who are interested that weren't able to join us tonight who can watch it and say, hey, I'd like to be part of that journey. So we'll go from there, but I will send out an email inviting you to join and you just let me know. Okay. All right. Well, it is, oh, perfect. I wanted to end around 8 o'clock, and I think we will end around 8 o'clock. I thank everyone here for your time. And I hope this was enjoyable and gave you some insights on how you can enhance your speaking. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. As I said, you will be receiving an email, so you can respond to that email or just reach out to me from the district website, tm83.org. My contact information is there as well. So thank you guys.